Hey up guys, Aaron here, and we're back in Scrap Mechanics, and today I'm showing you a little bit of improvement, or well, not improvement. I've been experimenting with the different ways of making sort of like walking robots, or mechs, or vehicles, or whatever, and better steering mechanisms. So you'll remember in the other video I made this one here, which it works, but it shuffles a bit and it doesn't really get as much traction when it's trying to move. It does steer as well, but not quite as well as the other one that I've just made. I still think this one looks cooler because of all the moving components. Like, it looks like it actually has legs from like an animal or something. I do like that one. But anyway, so that's that one. That one uses 1, 2, 3 rotors per leg, and I believe these ones use only 2 rotors per leg, or is it 3? 1, 2, 2, 2, and 2, and whatever. Well, we'll just open up this and have a look actually. Yeah, it's 2, isn't it? Yeah, it's 2 for the most part, and then some of them have got bearings here, and that's for the turning power. So it actually has less rotors. It took me about 10 minutes to make, because it's a lot easier to make this kind of a vehicle than it is that one, because that's got a lot of different angles and moving parts and adding and subtracting from those angles and all that sort of thing. While this one is just, you slap it together, you put 360 in there and you're done. I don't know why I didn't go for this approach first, because this one actually works better than that one, although it doesn't quite look as cool, I suppose. So anyway, we'll hop in, and it's numbers 1 and 2, hit them together, and away we go. And it has some pretty good speed, and it's not even at max speed, and it turns fairly well as well. Well, I'm turning left here. Got suspension as well to try and even out the ride. It is very bumpy though. I am actually turning. If I let go, it will just go straight forward. If I go right, it will go right. So there we go, an actual functioning walking mech, just using 360 degrees of rotation. Now, some people might think, why can't you just, well, I thought this as well, but I realised why you can't do it. Why don't you just stick all the legs and the bearings running off of a motor? But the thing is, the motor applies constant power, but if it does get stopped, it doesn't remember its correct sort of location. Well, what happens here is everything's stuck to proper angles. So if it moves 10 degrees, it moves 10 degrees. With a motor, it isn't doing that. It's applying a constant rotation. But if you stop it and then start it again, it just continues from where it left off. So it doesn't quite work. So I'd recommend using the 2 controller blocks and the 2 switches hooked up to the up to that thing there. And yeah, it works very well. And you can stop it whenever you want. If you hit both the buttons at the same time, it works. It moves fairly well. And I'm pretty happy with that. And it's got a little sport suspension under the legs there. I'll just show you how to do this. So it's just a solid frame. Bits have been cut out so the legs can turn like this, and that allows it to turn. Before, I had this sort of blocked out like this, but what happens is the knees catch. I'll show you, you'll see. See how it's catching there? So if I try and set off, it bangs and it doesn't quite work as well. So you have to sort of cut out areas for where the knees are. So I'll cut that out like that. Actually didn't need to go out that much, just that much I think. Like that. Same with the front here. It just slightly catches the edges there, so I got rid of those. The front isn't an issue because it goes past that, and it's really straightforward, to be honest. So I've got this back. We'll just look at the back one and you can work it out from there really. The back controller block is literally just set to full rotation, and then you've got the slider there that you can choose how much you want it to move. Each of these are set to the opposites of each other. So for example, what I tend to do is look at it from one side. So the first joint is clockwise, the second joint is clockwise but the other direction. That way when you set that one to clockwise and the other one to clockwise, they counteract each other, and that's how you get that smooth motion where that is always vertical. It's perpendicular to this. Well, no, it's not. It's perpendicular to the chassis of the vehicle, the main body, and you apply that with every single one. So you see how that one's clockwise this way, and that one's clockwise the other way, or you could say it's counterclockwise, even though it's heading clockwise. You know, so blue going right, like that, clockwise. Blue going right, clockwise. Blue going left, counterclockwise. Blue arrow going left, counterclockwise. These are just hooked up, the green ones are just hooked up to the driver's seats. When you press left and right, those swivel, that's it. And each of these legs is done exactly the same, more or less. In here, I did apply a few tweaks here, so it's 180 and 180 and 180 and 180. But that is literally just so that that leg's sticking out while that leg's sticking back. So it just means that at any one time, at any one time, there are 3 legs touching the floor at any one time, so it's really stable. A bit bouncy. So that's all that's there for. If you were to put them all straight, it would just do a weird shuffling motion, while this one's a bit quicker and more reliable. So that's just what I've been working on right now. Oh, the other thing, while we're here, I'll show you the new base that I'm working on. It's a work in progress. The game did crash and I lost. I'd been making a robotic arm that comes down, picks up crates, swings it over, drops it onto a conveyor belt, and then it goes around the back. And I built all that, and then it crashed, and I came back and found that it had sort of gone back. It had reset. So we step in here, you can click this, and that sort of folds up there. And that's just the ramp to get in, and it turns into a sort of a fairly sturdy door. And then we've got this here. These are just the windows that fold out to let a bit of light in, not that it actually lets any light in whatsoever. What else we've got? We've got this little cargo loading area, which is where the crates are going to come in from, and the teeth sort of lock together. Looks pretty good. We've got this little fold-out workstation, so you can come in, fold it out. You've got a table to work from, and you've got your box of cucumbers, your rubber duck, your toilet paper, and your severed human leg. And that's not supposed to do that. There we go. And we've got the little elevator. You stand on it, it goes up, and it works perfectly. But for some reason, whenever you load in the game, sometimes your contraptions don't really work. So that's all I've worked on at the moment. So I've got this perfectly sort of fairly smooth elevator that goes up vertically with like a piston action. It's more like a, what is it called, scissor action. I don't know if you know what that means. You know where? Well, you can have a look underneath. You'll see. Watch. Like that. Don't stand under here when that closes. And that's all I've been working on, really. We'll go outside and you can have a look at the windows on the outside as well. It looks fairly cool like that. So if I just hit the switch. Looks pretty good, I think. Yeah, so I think that's it at the moment. I'm going to be having a go at trying to make a 2-legged mech, I think, next. Maybe having a go at... I want to try and make a 3-legged one, but that would mean the back 2 could be... I'm trying to work it out. The issue with some of these is that they tend to sort of wobble about a bit. It'd be nice if there were gyroscopes, even if they weren't super powerful. They were just enough to stabilise things, that would be pretty handy. And that's just for some reason it's wasn't doing that before the game crashed, so I'm not sure why. Whoa. There we go. Cool. I haven't really done anything else, I think, with this bit though. That still works. See, this, we get issues with this where the blocks don't sort of fold in properly for some reason. Yeah, that's all working. That's still working. I don't know why those bits of wood that are there, I didn't put those there. That folds up. Good. Yeah, everything else is still working fairly well. Awesome. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that video. Where's my mech? It's over there. I'm pretty happy with the mechs, how the mechs have turned out. I did used to try. I used to play Besiege. Besieged? Yeah, Besiege. That's it. Not Besieged. Besiege with an E, no D, at the end. And it was really difficult getting any sort of mechanical things working in that because of the key where you bound keys, and yeah, it was just a bit awkward. But I did like the game and I liked the concepts, and I like Space Engineers. That's pretty cool. But so far I've probably made more awesome contraptions in this than I have in Space Engineers or Medieval Engineers, to be honest. It's I don't know whether it's easier, it's just more user friendly, and I'm trying to think what the word is. It's just comfortable. It's familiar, maybe. Intuitive. That's the word. You know, it didn't really take me that long to make that other one over there. It took me a while to get this one to work, but that's just because of all the rotations and the angles and having it all balanced out and in sync. That's what took the most amount of time. These things were fairly easy to do. I mean, that's really easy to do. It's just two rotors attached to each other, rotating at 90 degrees, and it follows out. And then this one's three rotors rotating. I think it's three. Is it three? It should be three. Yeah, three rotors rotating at 90 degrees but countering each other. They're just 90 degrees and they intersect. This one's just two 90 degrees apart from one of them rotates the opposite way. That one's similar to that as well. It just counteracts it. It's really cool. I'm looking forward to pistons. I don't know what other blocks they're going to be adding, but one thing I would like is a gyroscope of some sort. I would also like the ability to control the amount of thrust that the thrusters output, because at the moment the way it works is it just essentially forces the thruster in the in the forward facing direction up, or where let's find one. Right. Actually, we'll just do that. So when this thruster is on, it's pushing out a constant amount of power out the back, causing it to go in that direction. But there's no way of altering it, lowering it. Nice and warm. And it would be nice to be able to control the amount of power that it outputs, or maybe even have more analog switches, maybe, or something where. What about an analog sensor where it outputs more or less power based on the distance? So, for example, if you've got a sensor here, like this, if I'm here, it's weak. It's a weak signal output, and as I get closer, the signal gets stronger. And with that, you could have it so that if you have that there, for example, and it's hooked up to the thruster. the closer it gets to the surface or the ground, the more power it outputs. Therefore, when it's around here, it's outputting just enough thrust to push upwards, and the closer it gets to the ground, the more thrust it outputs. And if they could have a system that works like that, that would instantly mean that you could make hovering vehicles really, really easily, because they would handle themselves, basically. Ooh. If the ground is closer, more power, and as it gets further away it gets less power, and therefore it doesn't just keep shooting off, because that's what happens at the moment. If you try and make a hovering vehicle and you apply thrust, all it does is just shoot off at a constant power, when you don't want that. You want it so that it, I mean, it's not 100% physically accurate, but when you are, I've forgotten what the word is, but when you are closer to a surface to push against, there is more thrust, and as you get further away from the ground there is less to push against, and therefore less thrust. But anyway, sorry, I'm going on now. I hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to reverse engineer these awesome contraptions that I'm making. Well, I think it's a bit... okay, they might not be awesome, so I'm sure people have made similar things as well. But yeah, I hope this has helped somebody if they're planning on making some sort of mech system, or something like a giant walking mech base. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye bye.